everybody, it's Luther Wilson III. Today is Monday, October 7th, 2024. It's the start of quarter four, so I hope you're doing well. On today's video, I want to talk about the basics of real estate investing. Real estate 101, okay? So a lot of you know I'm a real estate broker, real estate investor here in the Kansas City market. I've been at it on and off since 2008, and I've had a lot of different experiences along the way, investing, working closely with lots of investors during that time frame, all right? And I thought it'd be good for me to give myself a refresher and some of y'all too, because it's a different ball game now. The market has changed, as it always does, and we've had to adjust. To continue moving forward, we've had to make some adjustments, all right? And so a lot of times real estate investors, people that want to get into the game, our main focus is on finding a deal, right? Go find a deal, find an opportunity, and then from there, we can sort out, closing it, acquiring it, flipping it, assigning it, or getting capital to take it down and keep it, all right? But I feel like it kind of reminds me of the chicken or the egg story. Which came first, right? So a lot of real estate people, I included, we get obsessed with finding deals, finding opportunities, and however that looks, if we're, doing some type of marketing, all right? It could be virtual, it could be, letters, postcards, it could be door knocking, it could be bandit signs, cold calling, you name it. We've tried all of it, all right? And that's what a lot of us get taught, and that's what we do early on. And then inevitably, we're gonna have to switch gears at some point if we wanna grow our business, if we want to invest and keep properties, especially if you wanna keep them for the long term. And so the key part of that is the capital, the financing, the capital, private equity, and the gap funds. It could be your funds, however that looks. And so those two things are huge. Of course, the capital, I want to put that first, okay? The last few years especially, I've been looking at the capital piece first instead of looking at the opportunity or the deal first. And it's changed everything, okay? And so a little bit on my background, I had been looking for opportunities since 2008 when I graduated, or actually right before I graduated college. I remember cold calling people from my fraternity house in Wichita, all right? And, I think about that time frame all the way through 2018, 2019-ish. I didn't think about the capital and the financing very much. My focus was on finding opportunities, looking for deals, and gaining experience in real estate in one way or another. And I can tell you, and hopefully, this will encourage some of y'all. Part of my mission is to educate, inspire, and collaborate, okay? And so that's part of what I'm doing here. And so for those that are out there that want to grow their real estate investing business, they want to grow their portfolio, they may be a practitioner that wants to get into investing, and they've been helping lots of investors like I did and still do. Hopefully this will get you to see and give you some hope, bring you some courage, right? To look at things a little bit different, all right? So from 2008 through 2018, I spent most of my time looking for deals and gaining experience in real estate. And I was able to do a good 10 purchases of real estate during that 10-year period. It may have been a little bit more, all right? And it wasn't until 2018, 2019-ish that I started to look at how I can partner with those that have capital. And I didn't even know until basically last year, earlier this year, that was private equity was what I was seeking. Not only just private capital, but private equity, because our plan was to keep these properties, and that's what we've done. So in 2019, right, I got more focused and dialed in about the capital piece. And from 2019 through 2023, I was able to do 14 purchases. All right. So again, 10-year span, 10 purchases, focusing on private capital and the financing aspects, doing 14 deals in under 4 years. So that's a key thing for y'all. Like, I know a lot of real estate practitioners. My background is in property management. I've met lots of contractors and realtors along the way. And a lot of us want to get into real estate investing, okay? And we want to either do flips or you got buy and hold, all right? So back to some of the basics of the real estate investing. That's it. You're gonna buy the property, right? You're gonna renovate it, and then you're gonna resell it. Some investors, wholesalers, whatever you wanna call it, buy the property, immediately resell it. Okay, cool. There's the quick turn, right? For the buy and hold, you're looking at acquiring the property. If you're doing the BRRRR strategy, you're going to rehab it, you're going to refinance it, then you're going to rent it out, or you're going to get to revenue or cash flow somehow, and then you're going to keep it from there. Another way buy and hold investors can make that happen is they're buying turnkey properties or properties that are ready to go. It could be single family, could be multifamily, and they put money down. They have money that they put in to do the value add, upgrades, and so forth, and they're renting it from there. So short-term stuff, long-term stuff when it comes to real estate. So you got to decide what's your plan. Are you going to do both? And then what's that look like as far as, not just the acquisition and the capital, but also the operations. All right. So a big thing that I've noticed, and I've been a part of it, me and my partners too, is I think a lot of why we do what we do as investors and the deals that we look at and then how we operate comes down to the capital piece, right? Going in, knowing how much we have to utilize, right? Are we gonna go the cash route if we have access to large enough amount and we can buy properties outright? Or are we on somewhat of a limited budget and we're gonna have to leverage that somehow, right? Having a general idea of, or a really good idea, depending on how you wanna attack this thing, is gonna then determine how you can move. So finding deals is great. Really enjoy it, right? But if we find an opportunity and we may not have the capital and the financing and the operational piece figured out before then more often than not, it's gonna be a short-term transaction. We find that opportunity, we can assign it, or we might be able to broker a deal, and that's it, right? We worked really, really hard to find an amazing opportunity, and because we didn't have a solid game plan and the financing and the capital lined up, we had to let it go. However many days, weeks, months it took us to find that opportunity, because of the lack of experience, lack of capital, whatever, we had to let it go. Okay, that kind of sucks, right? Are we going to keep doing that? Are we going to be able to build a business on that? Is that really what we want? It's a decent start where a lot of us end up starting, but then from there we got to determine, okay, do we really want to just quick turn the whole time, right? So even if you find an opportunity, right, and you're able to source capital for that opportunity, odds are it's gonna be an off-market deal and it's gonna need a lot in the way of repairs, okay? So even then, you're gonna have to figure out, all right, are we gonna use some type of loan, or can we borrow money, or can we do some type of joint venture with somebody that has the money, so then we can take down the property, acquire it, and then even then rehab it and probably sell it, because most of the capital available, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of the capital that's readily available that gets pushed out to investors comes in the way of either hard money, or it could be considered a fix and flip loan type of product, or it's going to be some type of short-term debt that is gonna be, interest only, right? And we're gonna probably need to pay it back within 6 to 12 months, maybe 2 to 3 years, right? And still, if it's interest only and it's got a balloon, we found that opportunity, which may or may not have really been that good of an opportunity, right? We wanted to take it down, right? So we were able to scramble around, or we met a bunch of sharks and we found money, some type of money, to be able to take it down and to acquire it. And we somehow got through the renovation project within a year. But because the way that the thing is set up with the funding, the financing, we gotta exit. We gotta exit, right? Because a lot of us may not have even thought about what that looks like to refinance and keep that property. Okay, that's a whole other conversation too. I just want to go through some of the basics today, but you could refer back to some of my previous videos where I talk about real estate investing strategies, gap funds, different opportunities, different types of financing, capital that's available for us. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, the opportunity, getting through the project, the funding, right? The financing that we're able to utilize determine what we could do with that, right? On that example, rehab, refi, rehab, resell. Most of the time it's going to be rehab and resell for most investors, because we didn't necessarily think about the funding, the financing, the refi part on the back end. That is a whole other thing, okay? And so for the buy and hold, I kind of hammered the short-term thing, right? When we're talking investing where you're on title, you're on that LLC or that entity, you're on the deed, however that looks, and you own that property, right? And then from there, you get to deal with the obligations and risks that entails, right? And then on the buy and hold side, right? You want to get into multifamily, you want to do short-term rentals, Airbnbs, whatever. The capital and the financing is even more important, okay, when you're wanting to buy and hold, because of all the things that I mentioned before. And then if you want to keep it, a lot of us, right, we're going to have to figure out the refi. And then part of the basics is the operations, okay? So I did another video and some posts a few weeks back about the main aspects or main elements that I see as real estate investors, right? You got the capital, right? You got the strategy, and then you got the operations. So look, a lot of us, we're stuck at deal finding, okay? And then we realize at some point or another, we got to get the capital piece straight. Okay, cool. That could take us years sometimes. It took me, almost 10 years to realize, like, hey, this is very important. And then fortunately for me, I came up in the business, right? My background's in property management. I mentioned I know property managers and contractors. I'm close with a number of them. I was fortunate I had that operations experience coming in to the game, which helped tremendously. However, looking back, I could have leveraged that way earlier on, realizing how important, in fact, besides the deal, there's tons of opportunities and deal finders and agents and wholesalers out there, right? Then you got the capital players. I think there's a lot of capital out there that are quiet and they're not going to say anything for obvious reasons, and they're scared, right? And so figuring that part out may not even be as hard as doing the operations necessarily. However, with the capital, the deals will come, and then with the capital, the operations are easier because you could pay people to do work. You could delegate a lot easier. So again, looking at the basics, right? The capital, let's look at that first, okay? Everything changed when I started to look at that first and figure out how we can make this thing an actual business and grow a portfolio and do deals regularly and more consistently. So when it comes to the capital, you got, gap funds, private capital. It could be in the form of private equity if it's not your own capital and you want to bring people in. And then you got the real estate financing piece. and there's short-term debt, long-term debt. I get into that on some past videos as well. Okay, cool. Now you got the strategy, right? The strategy, the investment model, how you moving, right? Are you gonna do single family? You're gonna do small multifamily? You're gonna do large multifamily? Or are you gonna do commercial or something else? The strategy is key too, right? Got to get a handle on that. And then what's doable in your market, okay? Are you going to be able to do that regularly? And is you going to be able to build a business around that, okay? So capital, strategy, and then of course you got the operations. How are you and the people in your business and working around your business moving? Operations is key, right? And you got acquisitions lumped under there. You may have renovations lumped under there, and then you got management lumped in the operations too as part of how you're moving. And, you know, I think of management, you got management of the properties, you got management of the people who are working in and around the business, and then you also got management of the business itself, because real estate investing, if you haven't figured it out, is a business, all right? And you know, a lot of us know businesses aren't around after 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? And so if we want to be able to create a business, a real estate investing business that'll stand the test of time, we have to be able to conquer the basics and run it like a business and have very good access to capital. In fact, once you got the capital, the deals are gonna flow to you because people know that you could perform and close and get things done. You don't necessarily need to look quite as hard for deals if you got the capital piece sorted out. You can simply put offers out, okay? Then you got the strategy. All right, so capital, strategy, operations, how you're moving, right? Tying that all in together is key. And there was, excuse me, I actually brought notes today. This is the first time I brought notes on the YouTube video here. So let me make sure I covered everything. I think I did. So for those investors that are operational people, the practitioners, okay, my heart really goes out to the real estate people that are working with and for investors, because that's what I do and that's what I did for years. And I truly want to inspire and educate and hopefully collaborate with some of y'all the most, because we've been at it doing the work, hitting the pavement for a lot of investors that don't even know what the hell they're doing. So we can learn to leverage the operational knowledge and experience, okay? If you're a realtor or a contractor or a property manager, and a lot of this, we can learn this stuff. We can, you know, YouTube, we can take courses, there's books and mentorship. Mentorship is huge. I would say that's the biggest thing out of all of the stuff that we could do as far as learning and growing. But a lot of it comes down to our psychology and emotions, okay, around not just real estate, of course, but around money, and then around ourselves, okay? So y'all know I like to go pretty deep on some of my posts on Instagram and YouTube, but you know, being able to get a better understanding of ourselves and how we think and feel about business and money and real estate and ourselves, that's pretty much everything, all right? Because the tactical stuff, the information is out there. There have been millions of people before us and right now who are successful at real estate investing. But it comes down, you know, so we know it works, right? There's opportunities out there, right? There's money out there that people want to do something with. They know that they should do something with. And then as far as, you know, business operations, that takes time, of course, to build out your company and your team, but we know that it works. So we have to figure out the inner work. And so going a little deep there, hoping to, you know, help you grow something that I've been working on heavy is, okay, how can I be more courageous and how can I be more confident in who I am? And then moving forward, presenting these ideas and opportunities and presenting to people that we can do business with or we can serve in some type of way, all right? And so it's Luther III, Upside Property Services here in Kansas City. Definitely keep me in mind. I appreciate you tuning in. If you're interested in learning more about real estate investing, the capital piece, the investing strategy piece, or the operational piece, send me a message. I'm active on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Give me a like if you want to learn more. Subscribe to the channel so you stay tuned when we release. I've been doing videos every single week, so hoping to keep that going. And so if you're in the Kansas City market and you want to chop it up, if you are out of state or out of the country and you see Kansas City real estate investing as an opportunity to not just invest but maybe place capital and loan money, we got tons of opportunities to be able to get you in the game. So keep me in mind. Have a great day. Peace.